addicts, so welcome along to my review of Norwegian Epic, the good and the bad. Before we jump in then, please do consider subscribing to the channel to help me grow and bring you more content. Do get involved by asking questions and leaving your comments below. Remember to like the video if you've enjoyed it, and also please do share the content. So let's jump right in, starting with the good. All the things that I enjoyed about the ship, kicking off with number one, and that is the entertainment. So number one show on board has to be Priscilla, hands down. Absolutely incredible cast, performance, the costumes, just absolutely brilliant. It really was a Broadway style show. So if you get a chance to check this out, I highly recommend you do so. Then you have Burn the Floor, also a really good show, kept us thoroughly entertained. And then you've also got the likes of the entertainment around the pool at night time. You have the 70s disco, the 90s disco, the glow night, all really, really great. Moving on then to number two, and that is the food. So overall in the main dining room, really good. I think I had one bad meal the whole holiday, which isn't bad, and that was chicken that was just a little bit dry. So it wasn't terrible, it could have been better. But you've got the majority of the meals in the main dining room were absolutely fantastic. And then the buffet, never had a bad mouth of food in the buffet. And then you've also got the specialty restaurants. Of those available on board, we went to Le Bistro and also Moderno. Absolutely incredible service and food in both of those restaurants. Could not fault it at all. Moving on then to Embarkation and Muster. Again, this was absolutely superb. They send you a video that you sometimes watch with other cruise lines in your cabin. They send this to you in advance of leaving your home for the ship. So you watch it once, they then send you a reminder the day before asking you to view it one more time. And then when you board the ship, you literally go straight to your muster station so you know where it is. And that's it. It's all done. Nothing else. Number four, the accommodation. I stayed in a solo studio, and I have done several cruises but never stayed in a solo studio with Norwegian. I was a little bit concerned at 99 or 100 square feet that it would just be a little bit too cramped. I take it all back. It was actually, although the room was small, it felt really, really spacious. Had a full-size double bed. They didn't spare any room on the shower. That was all full size, plenty to move around. And I get why some people hate or love Norwegian Epic. You're either normally one or the other. Often people hate it because of the separate toilet and shower situation. It's exactly the same with the solo setup, but I wasn't put off by it whatsoever. I absolutely love the room. Plenty of storage space as well. Both wardrobes had sliding doors, so that saved space. Plenty of cupboards and other bits and pieces. Plenty of room under the bed as normal to put your suitcase there. So yeah, I was highly impressed, and also added to that, because you're staying in a studio cabin, then you also have access to the studio lounge as a solo traveller as well. On to number five. So the ship was kept immaculately clean. The room was always spotless. The room attendant was very good. There were people always cleaning corridors. If you were in a bar or you were in the buffet, any glasses or crockery or cutlery were immediately collected as soon as they were used. Yeah, could not fault the cleanliness at all. Also, it was well maintained. They were often painting or varnishing outside as well, which didn't cause any issues to anybody else. Yeah, fantastic from NCL. And lastly, now this may be a bit of a curveball for some of you, but for me, I always take my shirts and have them ironed. And as you can imagine, it's not a huge amount, but the cost does mount up if you want 7 or 14 shirts ironed. So this was news to me, that you can actually call housekeeping and request an iron, and they'll let you borrow an iron for between 30 and 60 minutes, and they'll come and collect it and take it back. Real big plus for me. Again, it won't be helpful for some of you, but for me, I found that really helpful. So, moving on then to the bad. Now, none of these are absolutely catastrophic, but there were a few things that irked me, shall we say. So, number one, not a biggie, but the layout of the ship. You have to go around to go down or up on certain decks. It's not just Norwegian Epic, there are other ships out there that do exactly the same, but it does get a little bit frustrating going between decks. But again, it's not the end of the world. There are far more worse problems out there. The other odd thing that I found about the Epic, which is on very few ships, then that's they had an escalator to go between decks 6 and 5. Unusual. Number two, now this was a big one for me. I book with NCL because they have fantastic entertainment, and also because they have the adults only Spice H2 area at the back of the ship. On this sailing, it was closed, as was the sports deck. Now, my issue is that I'm sure that they would have known months in advance that the work was going to be carried out on Spice H2O, but they decided to let everybody know that it was out of action after final payment. Now that to me is wrong. They offered £50 compensation, so £50 onboard credit for everybody affected, but I just didn't like the way it was done, and I don't believe that any repairs to Spice H2O would have happened last minute. These things are planned well in advance. Also, one of the slides was out of action, so the main slide with the toilet bowl, that was closed as well. I thought maybe it was just closed on one day, but every day I went back, it never had water in it, so it wasn't up and running the whole cruise. The slide's not the end of the world, but I was actually looking forward to trying it out. Number three then, no sea days. Now I take full responsibility for this one, but I just want to raise it because it seemed like a good idea at the time. But when you're visiting 7 ports and you have no chance to rest, it becomes really tiring, especially if you've got long days ashore like we did. I really missed not having the sea day on the second day. So I like to get on board, I like to explore, get to know my surroundings, go out for dinner, have a few drinks, maybe even go to the nightclub, and then know that there's no rush to wake up the next morning. I kind of really missed that, and again, I take full responsibility for booking a cruise with no sea days. I just really missed it. It's also nice to have it on your last day before you disembark as well, because you have that time to chill and relax, and you can take your time packing. You're not worried about rushing back from your port to get yourself sorted. So yeah, the other thing, the surprising thing, was that there didn't seem to be any pool activities during the day. Now, I've been on several cruises in the last 12 months, and every single one of them had activities around the pool. Now, I get that Spice H2O was closed, but I'm sure that I remember when I was on Bliss, there were a lot of activities that took place around the actual main pool, not around Spice H2O. So it was fantastic at night. I couldn't fault them at night time, but on the day, it just seems sadly lacking for things to do. And lastly, the Wi-Fi. Terrible. Now, I know not to expect the same service on a ship as I do on land, but this was just terrible. On my last 3 cruises, I've managed to go live from the ship. Could not do that at all, and I tried on several platforms, and I just could not go live because the signal just wasn't there. And I just think that when I was on Bliss, it was that much better. It's obviously specific to that ship, and I just think they need to do better. So that's my good and bad. I do just want to say finally though, in summary, it was a great cruise, if a little busy. That's down to me though, because of the activities that I scheduled, but I did really enjoy it overall. I've never drank so little on a cruise because I was so busy getting up early to go on my tours during the day, but I did feel well looked after overall. My favourite cruise line remains NCL. Unfortunately, just not this ship. So that is my review, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And again, if you enjoyed, please do consider subscribing to help me grow and reach more members and allows me to bring you more content. Do leave your questions or comments below on any of the points that I've raised. Let me know your opinions or ask any questions that you want to, and I'll be glad to answer any that I know the answer to. Do share this content, and also if you liked it, give us a thumbs up. Thank you so much, guys. Until the next video, take care.